Welcome to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge podcast with your hosts Laura and Aneela, where timeless romance meets modern wisdom.
Today is going to be a good one. Welcome back to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. I'm Laura Doughty, and I am here with my co-host Aneela Zaman. Aneela, I'm excited. You actually were the one that wanted to bring this topic to the surface, so share with everybody what's going on.
Thank you, Laura. Yes. Today we're diving into a topic that can often complicate relationships. Putting people on a pedestal. This really resonated for me when Laura and I were talking in a discussion. I brought this up and Laura was like, let's definitely talk about this on our podcast. And I was sharing with Laura about my past relationships, especially when I was younger, and how I would put my partners or men that I was attracted to. And sometimes actually I'll take it a step further, not just men that I was romantically involved with, but also associates, people that I, for some reason, would find a lack of within myself to want to put that person on a pedestal, and how ultimately that would lead to a demise.
I know that has to hit home for a lot of people. So in our era of life, regardless of whether you're in our 50 and above or not, it is so natural to admire someone new in your life. And especially when we're excited about a budding romance or a new friendship. But there is a fine line between admiration and idealization. And Aneela knows that I'm guilty of this. So I appreciate her coming up with this conversation today.
Absolutely, Laura. See, putting someone on a pedestal means seeing them in an overly idealized light, often overlooking their flaws and complexities. And this phase can be enchanting, but it can also be dangerous if we start to believe our own projections. And I think, again, when we kind of peel back the layers and dive into why we do that, it's we are lacking something in ourselves that we see in the other. And because we see that, we, again, as you said, rather than admiring them, Laura, we idolize them and we put them on that pedestal.
Exactly. It's so crucial to remember that this pedestal phase is just that, a phase. We all have imperfections. When we see someone as flawless, we don't allow them space to be human.
Yes. And when they inevitably make a mistake or fall short of our idealized image, we become disillusioned. We're disappointed, right? It's important to understand that we aren't to blame for our unrealistic expectations. We created a fantasy, and as Laura said again, we are human and we have to allow the other person space to be human, and therefore they will make mistakes, which doesn't make them any less. It's just the way that we had projected our own perception onto them that is disappointing us, not necessarily them.
You know, we do this with a lot of situations in our life. So many of us growing up put our parents on a pedestal. We have the label of guru. That word alone is like the definition of putting someone on a pedestal to some degree. I mean, there are people that have, the 10,000, 100,000 hours of intellect and expertise in an area. But again, over time, even those gurus, our parents, etc., we learn that no one is perfect. We're all a blend of divine and human traits. And we're all navigating through our own struggles, lessons, joys, etc. of life. And embracing this understanding allows for deeper intimacy in our relationships.
Very well said, Laura. Let's talk about some key takeaways to help our listeners navigate this.
Okay, so first things first, you actually have to recognize that you are in the pedestal phase. It's natural, like I said before, to see someone in an overly idealized light in the beginning. Maybe you see someone from afar and then you go and do your whole social media rabbit hole search, and then you have an idea of what you're looking for and you're imposing some of that on to this idealized situation. But remember, this is just a phase. It's not a true reflection of who they are.
Couldn't agree more with you, Laura. And acknowledging human flaws is essential. Everyone has imperfections, and these flaws make us human and relatable. When we accept this, we allow for a more genuine connection. And this brings me to a point of when I was married to my ex-husband, and I used to, I'm so embarrassed to say, but nitpick about silly things. And he used to have this phrase that says, he'd say, Aneela, it's the imperfections that make you who you are and so beautiful in my eyes. Why can't you do the same for me? And he's right, because the reality is we all are flawed one way or another. And if we didn't think the other was flawed, and when we see it, it ultimately just leads to disappointment. And I will give my ex-husband a lot of credit. Thank you, Lewis, for really showing me that none of us are perfect. And to accept the imperfection in another will ultimately bring you peace within yourself. And to remember, no one is perfect.
Such a great lesson, Aneela. Thank you for sharing that. Another really important point is to foster authentic connections. That's part of our motto here at Vintage Vibe, because true intimacy comes from seeing and accepting loved ones as they truly are. That means you have to take those rose-colored glasses off and literally see from a lucid, clear standpoint not only the person you're looking at, but your own self and what you're projecting out and in about this person. So this means embracing their good and not so good qualities.
Oh no, I've got to take off those rosy glasses that I love to wear. I'm just teasing. Um, I agree absolutely with you, Laura. And maintaining balance in our perceptions is crucial. Embrace both your own and others' humanity and divinity, because this balanced view will help nurture a more fulfilling and realistic relationship with another. The more expectations we put, the more disappointment it leads to. So, acceptance is the key, and I think it creates more harmony.
Let's expand on that balance, because I love that we're including humanity and the divinity in each of us, Aneela. When we see someone as perfect, we're not seeing them at all, as I was saying before. Take the rose-colored glasses off. We're seeing a projection of our desires and fears. So real connection happens when we allow ourselves to see and be seen, flaws and all.
That's so true, Laura. When we stop elevating our loved ones to an unattainable pedestal, we start to see them for who they truly are, and that helps create a more authentic connection with them. Also, it's not, I mean, again, when I did that, when I put my partner or someone else on a pedestal, it really is creating inferiority within myself. I'm lacking something, and they might have that quality that I'm lacking, and therefore I'm putting them on the pedestal. But it doesn't serve us, because really we should be working on, you know, ourselves to, whether it's to strengthen that trait or skill that we see in them that we admire so much, but to work on ourselves and to maybe attain it within ourselves and not feel less than, but more aligned to them.
And in the end, this leads to stronger, more meaningful relationships. So the next time you find yourself putting someone on a pedestal, just remember that life is about walking together, side by side, not having someone elevated, someone, and this can be reversed. Someone can put you on a pedestal as well. So, karma can be kind of funny like that. So you have to remember that the minute that you elevate someone or they elevate you, there's an imbalance. So that's why you have to keep in mind, the side by side is such a key element, because we're all learning lessons from each other, whether it's for a lifetime or a season, but we're doing it side by side.
Absolutely. Let's cherish the imperfections that make us uniquely beautiful. And as Lewis, my ex-husband, used to always say, it's those imperfections of you, Aneela, that make you so beautiful. Well, thank you again for joining us on episode 9 of the Love Lounge podcast. If you'd like more on this, feel free to check out our blog that was recently posted. We post a helpful blog almost every Saturday. Now it's time for you to get out there and build those authentic connections. And as my co-star Laura said, do it by walking together side by side. Until next time, thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram at Vintage Vibe Match. Remember, love knows no age. Get out there and find your vibe and keep vibing with us until next time. Connect with us at findyourvintagevibe.com.